I remember actually getting 26% for physics, guys, in grade 11 first term. 26%, sir. Except for yala. Like, you're out here reading storybooks, like, what's this? William Shakespeare books. And it's just like, why are you wasting our time? We could be doing really constructive things, you understand?
What was your favorite subject in high school?
I know what I didn't like.
Okay. That's actually going to be the next question. So I guess you can answer both. What did you like and what did you not like and why?
Yeah. I know I didn't like natural science when I was in grade 9.
Okay.
Remember, like, natural science was basically physics, chemistry, and biology, right? So we had never been taught those separately. Like, it was usually a thing of um, it's natural science. So we're discussing chemistry now. Then tomorrow you go, oh, we're talking about uh frogs anatomy or something like that. That was always natural science. And then in grade 9 they decided, okay, we're gonna have natural science and biology, right? It was the same. We had two different textbooks basically. And I just remember hating it. Like, I just remember hating it. We would talk, like, the teachers about cells and things. And the funny thing about it is that I wanted to be a doctor at some point. And here you are hating biology. Obviously, look, I mean, you don't need to have done life science to become a doctor, but just talking about cells and membranes and all of these things and nucleus, all of it, I hated it, right? But I was told that it's like very important to do science, right? So I said I'm not going to do biology, which was life science. So I went the physical science route because I really did kind of enjoy and like that. And so that's what I did. But I got to grade 10, 11, and 12, and physics was, yeah, the worst module, basically. There was subject for me all throughout, right? I would say my favorite subject, oh, I'd say accounting. And yeah, I think so because I didn't really like, I'm going to look at grade 10, 11, and 12, right? I did uh, physical science, accounting, business studies, and then the other ones that were compulsory, right? And look, I enjoyed accounting throughout. That's the one constant, right? Then I enjoyed business depending on the person that taught me, and I enjoyed math as well, right? So I would say the one constant was accounting because I had the same teacher from grade 10 up until grade 12, and she was really good at it. She had BCom in accounting, so she understood the the subject, so she was able to teach it really well, right? And then math, I had the same teacher from in grade 11 and in grade 12, and she was genius. I remember a friend of mine and I saying, why did she even become a teacher? Because she was so good at math. Like those people who you can tell that had she gone and studied actual science or something like that, she would have prospered. You understand? Because she was just that great. But also, we can't have people that don't understand math teach math. Like, we can't have all of the ones who are great at, like, say for example, like my math teacher in grade 11 and 12. And in fact, I think she taught me math in grade 9 as well. So I remember when I got her in grade 11, it was like, definitely. So, but I'm just saying, we had other math teachers in I think grade 10. My grade 10 math teacher was just not the best. And I'm sorry if he'll ever see this video, but I honestly hate. Um, and then we had another teacher. So there was two math teachers when I was in grade 11 and 12, right? And they taught other classes. I was lucky enough never to be in those classes. Guys, and this is the one thing people don't understand. A teacher needs to understand what he's doing, right? In order for them to teach a particular subject because it plays a huge role. Guys, the person that was the dark scholar in our matric, right, was taught math in grade 11 by this other teacher who was a mess. And they were getting 40s and 50s. This is someone who got a distinction in matric for her math, having been taught rather by the same person that had taught me in grade 12, you know, because our teacher was that great. Like, and she could see potential. I remember there was like a bunch of students, 3 or 4, right, who were really good, but they had this terrible math teacher teach them math. And luckily they had a good basis like grade 10, right? Grade 10, they were okay enough, even though we had this teacher who was, look, the teacher wasn't bad. The teacher was okay, but wasn't the best. So, but they had a good foundation. Then they went to grade 11 and they got bottom of the barrel, right? I'm really sorry to say this about this person, but they got bottom of the barrel and their marks plunged like really bad. Imagine a 90 percenter getting 40s, 50s in math. Do you understand? This is someone who is. And then they eventually got to our grade 12 teacher who was excellent. Like she was just the best. And she made me like math. I was just not a proper student. I probably could have gotten like 90 because I remember she would constantly say, because I never used to do it. And like to everyone watching this video, please do. I would always get, like, she'd always just shout at me that like I'm wasting my potential. Do you know what I mean? Because she'd say, do your homework, dude. Like you're out here getting like 70s and whatever, and you're like an 80 percenter. You could be getting 80s, like proper 80s and things like that. And that's it. I remember the one time, guys, this is a funny story, I'm sorry. I remember, and you might not laugh, and I see you guys are dying to crack, and it might not be as funny, but for me it was a funny experience. So here I am. First of all, I think I forgot my math book, right, that day. And so I couldn't show her my homework, right? And there I am, like, I was sitting next to a window. So it just looks sweetie. And like, I'm just far, far away in the land, nowhere to be seen, right? Dreaming and just living my best life there in math. And this woman is like, she was very strict as well, right? But she's going on and whatever. And she can see, Moto is far away. She pulled that stock sweet out of my mouth, that lollipop out of my mouth, and banged it on the on the table. And she's like, "You're gonna fail." It was And for me, it was a hilarious situation because it was like she caught me off guard because there I am, like Nahana or just looks sweetie, and you're just living your best life. And all of a sudden, someone comes, pulls it out of your mouth, bangs it on the table, it flies everywhere, and everyone just died because it was just a very funny situation. And it could end up because you spend 2 rand on that lollipop, and 2 rand in high school, guys, what time value of money? Was a lot of money. So it was a very funny situation. I remember us laughing so much about it, but she was so true. She was so like she was very accurate about it because I had a lot of potential. I could really have gotten really, really great marks. I did get a good mark because I think I ended up with like a 76 or something like that in my matric, right? But that 76 could have been an 87 easily. Do you understand? Had I been serious, because the other people, the ones who were in the bottom of the barrel teacher in grade 11, those who were in her class in matric got math distinctions. Do you understand? And these were people that I could have very easily, not just blow my own horn or anything, but I could have very easily gotten the same marks as them. So I don't even remember. Oh, yes, so math was a good subject that I really did enjoy, that I understood, and that's, I think, you tend to enjoy, not all the time. Sometimes you can enjoy module and it still kicks you, but um, many of the times there are some subjects that you really enjoy more when you understand better. Do you understand? So yeah, but so for me, favorite subject, math. and accounting. I really loved business as well because I've just always been a business-minded person, but I think accounting was the one constant. And yeah, throughout actually, throughout. And my worst subject, I would say, was physics. Physics and English. I didn't really like, I think I didn't really have a problem with English. I just never understood it, or it was just such a tedious subject. It was like you're out here reading storybooks, what's this, William Shakespeare books, and it's just like, why are you wasting our time? We could be doing really constructive things. You understand? And this is the one thing that teachers used to love doing. They would they would pump you up with literature, right? Poems and all of that nonsense. And they never spend time on the actual language. So you don't even get, and that's the thing. Then you get into a paper one question. You get a paper one exam paper, right? And you are like, it's just shock. I just remember the one time, I can't remember what this word was. Every time I read this word, though, I remember that experience, but it was in a paper one question for English. And they asked us what it means. Hey, guys, have you ever just looked at a word and you're just like, does it mean? Like, where you even going to start? And that's the thing. Like, I could get distinctions for English, right? But would never be able to get to, it would be like a 76, 77 because of the paper one question that you had to do, because you're getting for literature 87%, for the other one, paper three, right? You'd get like an 85. And then paper one comes and you get a 34, and it's just like, wow. So yeah, it's just, I wouldn't say I didn't like it. It was just annoying that, yeah, it was like that. But physics, yeah. Physics was just something else. I remember actually getting 26% for physics, guys, in grade 11 first term. 26%, so except for yala.
Let me start with my best, right? So my best subject was this is gonna sound so funny because I'm sure like people are gonna be like, what? But I remember at some point I don't know what grade it was, but I really enjoyed life orientation. Yeah, life orientation was the shiz, bruh.
You
Yeah,
know what?
yeah.
I just want to comment. Life orientation was fun. It was just that subject. And for me, I think also most of the time it was a free period. So, hey,
The thing is,
It was
it's a free
great. It
period,
was.
but you're doing so well in it. Like it's just free marks. Like, come on, they.
It was a free period. The great part about it is now you see that like you were learning about life and what life brings, like
I guess
things
that's
about life.
yeah. I guess that's why I enjoyed it so much because it was social issues, and I remember, Lesego, you mentioned in like a previous video that we made, and then you were like, aptitude tests, how those help, in just identifying, just I guess who you are and what you might be good at. And I remember, like when I heard you say that, at first I was like, I don't agree. But then I linked it to actually like what your aptitude tells about you is the core of who you are. You know what I mean? It's like you can't run away from it. And I remember for me, I kept running away from my aptitude marks, you guys. Like I remember taking that test in grade 8. It was grade 8, ne? Yeah. And then it came back and then they were, yo guys, I was so upset. It came back and they said something about, what was it, man? Like something about in the hospitality, or not hospitality, but like caring, it was also, it was almost as if they made me seem like I'm gonna be like a health worker, or like, I don't know, like a teacher, I don't know who, but like a caring industry. And I'm like, hey, Kinyaka chelete. Yo guys, because remember I said, hey, CA from the beginning, CA. Where is the CA, guys? I wanna know. Kinyaka, the vibes, man. Or this is you busy telling me about serving people. It's funny, like after you mentioned that that part about like that like the aptitude test, and then I actually thought about it. I'm like, you know, actually, when I actually sit back and I relax, who I am, guys, is exactly that. I'm about serving, you know, I'm about helping people. Like legit, that is who I am. And I ran away from it for so long, and I didn't realize that you can actually have both. You know, you can have whatever it is that you are good at doing and just who you are on the inside, you know. And I guess me being that carer is actually good, taking it into accounting, because now I bring in ethics, you know, I bring in, you know, because auditing, I vibe with auditing, you know, even though it doesn't vibe with me a lot of the time, but I vibe with it, you know, because it's about ethics and it's about doing the right thing. And guys, I'm about, yeah, like if I can tell you how much I enjoy, you know, just doing the right thing, you know, order, you see, and like just helping people also, because I really love, you know, taking it back to what, you know, putting it back and stuff like that. So yeah, no, life orientation, you know, and then Afrikaans, I also enjoy. It's actually funny because because you said something in Afrikaans, and I'm like, yo, that's actually. I remember, yeah. The thing is, I was really good at Afrikaans. I don't know how you guys, but Afrikaans was like, it was almost like life orientation. It was just easy, you know, and it just free marks, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I will have it. Anything easy, I will have it. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I don't speak Afrikaans though. I don't know how to speak. Like I haven't spoken Afrikaans since high school probably. So I don't know anything. Yeah, but yeah, those were like very good subjects. I enjoyed them a lot. And then coming to worst subjects, like when you were mentioning, yo, Kevin, like you mentioned the bad teachers, can I just say that, like I said, I can't change the past, but if I were to go back, I would change schools for sure, you know, because my worst subject was accounting. Yeah, I know. Like how is your worst subject accounting, and then now you are doing accounting in varsity? Like how does that happen, guys? I did not enjoy accounting at all. So remember I told you guys, oh, I don't know, I didn't tell you, but wait, I did tell you guys, or like in a past video or something. But then I mentioned that you know, I had a past teacher who used to say, you know, she's not going to explain anything twice because she doesn't get paid twice. You guys, she was my accounting teacher. And like, you understand that like she made it, I didn't feel her, you know, like she just wasn't the one, you know, and she made it really hard for me. Oh, just people just asking questions, and you don't realize that someone is on a path here, you know, like you realize that if I hadn't known that, oh, I actually want to do accounting someday. If I hadn't known that, I would have been so discouraged, guys. I wouldn't even have went into anything, you know, going into grade 10, get accounting. Ooh, accounting where, bruh? Because it showed me flames. Guys, it showed me flames. But then I was like, no, like, it can't show me flames, because how am I gonna like do this for the rest of my life if it's showing me flames, guys? It's high school, you know. So definitely her. She made accounting horrible, man. Honestly, the worst. And then also I had a maths teacher as well. So it was double whammy. Accounting and maths, you guys. My maths teacher, I didn't even know this, but then she shared with us, this was the person who told us, by the way, that if you're not doing well, you're gonna go to maths literacy. She was trying to encourage us, you know, when we weren't doing well in maths. And then she was like, no, it's okay, you know, when you're not performing. Even I wasn't good at maths in school. Get her! Why are you here?
A math teacher saying that she wasn't good with math.
She wasn't good at maths, and now we're expected to go to maths literacy. you understand why we were suffering, guys. I told you that I came into high school. Maths was here, guys. Maths was my favorite subject. Like I had very good favorite subjects which were like in alignment with accounting and stuff. And then I got into high school, guys. My teachers were whack, and honestly, they made my experience academically horrible. And at the time, you think, no, this is how high school teachers are. This is how they are. You don't really understand that. No, this is not how teachers are. And then you end up suffering, not knowing that you don't understand the content, and you're just like, maybe there's something wrong with me. Like you mentioned, you have an A student who's getting 40s and 50s, and a whole A student. You know what I mean? That's me, bruh. I got into that class, and now I'm the A student who's now getting these bad marks. I don't know even what's wrong. I'm thinking it's me. My brain can't function with functions and geometry and whatnot. Yeah, so yeah, that was my worst. Those were my worst
I think,
subjects. Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
like that actually reminds me of my physics teacher.
yeah.
Our physics teacher in grade 11, yeah, he taught me physics in grade 11 and 12. And remember, I said I got 26%, I think, in grade 11 to 1 for physics. And this guy, the thing about it was you'd get in class and here's this guy relating stories that have nothing to do with physics, right? Just telling us about his life and things like that. And the thing about it is that it's nice, right? When you're in high school, you become so excited that you're going to this teacher and then it's going to be story time. You know that it's story time, it's going to be fun and everything like that. And then comes first test and there they are asking you questions. And the thing about it, I went to a government school, right? So our teachers never said our papers. They'd always come from the department. So they are handing out papers and they're like, what is this, bro? You never told us. Do you understand? And obviously they also get they get the curriculum that you have to be at a particular point within the first term, within the second term, and so forth. And here we are writing on things that we've never seen before. They actually had to intervene by getting us external people to help us with physics because no one is passing, even top students, people who came from grade 10 with great marks get to grade 11 and it's like, hey, shockers, you know what I mean? So I remember the one time, because it's story time, you're in class now, it's nice. So here he comes revealing a story about how all of the people, like he wanted to get into something serious, like be it a doctor or being a physicist or something like that. And the people that he went to school with ended up being doctors and pharmacists and all of those things. And then he's like, and I ended up being a teacher, like saying it like it's a terrible thing. And I honestly believe being a teacher is a great thing to understand if you know what you're doing, and it's a very important career as well. But if you're gonna mess up people's futures, please don't get into it. So for him, it was a thing of, I think he had a whole lot of regret. When a person has their fun and things like that, and then doesn't even think about their future, and gets to a particular point where it's like do or die, like you have to eat. So what are you gonna do? He got to matric, passed matric, fine, and then it was a thing of, what am I going to do with my life? Then he's just like, let me just go to teaching, and now messing up everyone's future. And had it not been for the intervention of the department, because they took like a pool of people, and that was also an unfortunate thing, but they took a pool of people and they took us for like a young course thing where we crash course physics, grade 10 to grade 12. This is how this works. This is how you do this, and this is what it. So because I'd already lost interest and I'd already set my mind on I'm going to become a chartered accountant, that's my life and whatever, and so I don't need physics as long as I pass. But the ones that ended up going the science route made sure, and it helped out. I remember one of my friends actually got like a 70-something% from the 40s and 20s we were in, so it really did help. But I think one thing that is never taken into consideration is the role that teachers play in, first of all, how a person perceives a subject and how they perform it. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. So
My worst subject was Afrikaans. Oh my gosh. It was that subject where I'm just like, okay, why? Roiranga Afrikaans. When you get to university, who's gonna say, do you have Afrikaans? Because there's no particular career that needs you to do it in Afrikaans. So I'm just like, what are we doing? But it was so easy. It was so easy. It was one of um I think I was good in it. So but yeah, that was my worst because I didn't understand why I was doing it, and it just required extra work for me because Leona, it had literature, it had poems, it had language and punctuation and all in Afrikaans. And I just was like, it's like converting English into Afrikaans with everything. So cool. My best subject has to be physics and life sciences. Oh my gosh. So I remember in grade 9, around like the end of the year, you had to pick the subjects that you're going to choose in grade 10, right? So I remember when we got that paper, a lot of people were like, so the number one combination was accounting, physics, and life sciences. So I remember people kept saying, yo, nobody ever takes the first one. The first one is the most difficult. No one can do it. Hey, I was like, "Ay man, nah." I took it. I took it because of that.
For that day. For that day.
Hey, get to grade 10. Okay, physics was nice. I loved the whole periodic elements, what. It was nice. I loved it. Life sciences, oh my goodness. I think that's what contributed to me loving nature now and the human body. I loved all of those things. And accounting was accounting was challenging, but I love the challenge. I love the fact that it challenges me up until ko re go balance wa ntlhaloganya. So I'd have to do it until I get it right. So that's what I loved about accounting. But wow, it spanked my ass, and I just loved the challenge. I kept going, kept going. I remember I never got more than 50. Never got more than 50 in grade 10. When I got to grade 11, my grade 11 accounting teacher, I got 60% finally for a test. Oh my goodness, like celebrations. My teacher's like, no, you can actually do better. Yo, that day, people got well done, excellent on their papers. Me, she's like, you can do better. Hey, then I was conflicted, but then I loved the subject. So I'm like, I literally only got past that 60% only in matric, and at the final year in like exams, I got a distinction in accounting. Bona. I'm like, that means I'm doing accounting. That means I'm doing accounting. So accounting, I was provisionally accepted in university for it, but then not as the first option, right? So because my marks were not good enough. But came matric and I passed it, and oh my gosh. Oh, math. Math is fun. From grade 10, I remember I used to be taught by the same teacher up until grade 12. In her class, she always had these posters that is written, math is fun, math is fun, math is fun. And my goodness, I was like dedicated. I did my homework, assignments, everything. So, but at the same time, I was a little bit like talkative in a way. So, but then I was one of those where I would do my work and still talk, blah, 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 but then I'm still doing my work. And then most of my friends went to detention, but I didn't. So it was like, how but then we going to detention and whatever. But then I think because I loved it that much, I loved doing some TOEFL X, TOEFL. So Yeah, those are my worst and best. LO, life orientation, um, PE. I loved the like running, art. Listen, I think those like they're all my favorite. The only thing that hindered my like for things was Afrikaans. Otherwise, zinto phezulu.
Oh, math is fun. Yes. So you mentioned how math is fun. The thing about math is actually fun, you know, but it's only fun when you understand what you're doing. And it becomes a nightmare when you're just confused and you don't know what's happening. I remember when trigonometry was introduced, guys, king, you know, but then once you get it, it becomes addictive. It's like a lifestyle. You breathe trigonometry, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it becomes very fun when you actually understand it. And it's just like a logical thing, you know, like it just opens up the brain in a very different way. And it's beautiful, you know, yeah, to discover the fact that you can think like that. Yeah. And then you mentioned that like Afrikaans, you know, Afrikaans, you don't know like what is the point of this, even though you're doing well in it, but like, okay, and then what? It was exactly it. So for me, saying that it was like my best subject, it was just because I enjoyed it, because I did well in it. You know, it's like it. You know what you enjoy, it like comes into, oh, I like it. You know, because now when you go into that accounting class, you have that teacher who tells you not to ask questions. You have that maths teacher who tells you she didn't even do well, so it's okay not to do well. You know what I mean? So in Afrikaans, the thing is, we had a very good Afrikaans teacher, and it just goes back to show how important teachers are, because something as Afrikaans, you know, like, what am I going to do with it in future? But you just end up loving it because the teacher just has passion for it. And now take that same teacher, it's actually a shame, you know, that same teacher could have went into accounting or mathematics or something, and then they would have made a difference, you know, because I remember a lot of kids dropped out of mathematics and they were just like going to math lit, and everyone, when you took maths, it was like when, you know, like vela vela, like it was almost as if, and then when it's like you like, how did it have, you know, or like vela vela, do you enjoy like failing like stuff like that? It's like, what is it about maths? But like, just come to the easy side, because maths little was fun, but you know, it was fun. People were having a good time there, but it's like, no. But the thing is, you understand your path, and maths lit is not part of that journey for you because of what you want to study further. So it's a shame that, you know, the good teachers are where we don't really need that subject, and then where we actually need it, we have bad teachers. And like Kevin, you mentioned in natural sciences or physics that you had in physics, yeah, you had a teacher who would tell stories. We had that teacher, guys. That's why, if I could have changed schools, honestly, like now that I look back, at the time I didn't pinpoint the fact that, oh no, this is actually not what school is supposed to be. I'm not getting the most of my education. I should change schools. At the time, it's like, no, like life is good, you know, like I said, you know, your friends are good. Academics, it's like, I'm not getting it, whatever, you know. But you don't really understand that, like, going to school, you're supposed to go to a school where you have passionate teachers. Like, passionate teachers is not a dream. It's not like something that, it's not like a luxury or a, I would say, a privilege. It's a necessity. It's supposed to be that way, you know. And we get so used to people who are just like not very good. We just get so used to it, and we don't know better. And like you said, Kevin, you know, you would enjoy the story time. Even it's like, period. Even with us, where we enjoyed it, because it's like, even you're like, please, please, I hope she doesn't this time, you know, like start opening up a book. So the thing is, she would just start to like, she'd open up a book for like maybe 5 minutes or something, 10 minutes of the class, and then she'd put it aside and start talking about her kids and like just her life. And at the time, you're just like, go on. You're not even gonna like put her back in track because you're like pre-period. But at the time, it's like, you know, people who actually needed physics, now, you know, a whole career is now gone because you need physics to study physics things. And yeah, so I feel like teachers, honestly, like, they need to, like, if you're not passionate about teaching, try something else, man. Like, you can't be in a career that is, it could be so tragic to someone's life, you know, like, you can't, it's a very delicate thing. You can't play around with that. Like, if you wanna be like a lazy person, try something else, not where a kid's future is in jeopardy. It's not even just one child, it's like a whole class. Like you mentioned, you had A students who would get very bad marks in physics and stuff, and then now, you know, they had to now go into these very intensive crash courses, you know, to understand what should have been taught in class, you see.